Ever wondered what happened to the beloved cast of The King of Queens after the cameras stopped rolling? Life took some unexpected turns, with shocking accidents altering their paths in ways no one could have predicted. Some faced devastating setbacks, while others found strength in adversity, reinventing themselves in inspiring ways. In 2025, their lives look dramatically different from their sitcom days, and the stories behind their transformations are nothing short of compelling. Join us as we uncover where they are now. You won't believe what they've been through. Leah Remini, who portrayed Carrie Heffernan in The King of Queens, was 28 when she took on the role of the assertive, quick-tempered legal secretary with a sharp tongue and fierce loyalty. Her chemistry with Kevin James made Carrie an unforgettable character. Off-screen, however, Remini's life has been a turbulent blend of advocacy and personal struggle. After leaving Scientology, she faced ostracism, legal threats, and fractured friendships. She married actor Angelo Pagan in 2003, and though their relationship appeared strong publicly, insiders revealed years of tension, jealousy, and therapy. They have one daughter, Sophia, whose strained relationship with her mother has made headlines. Remini suffered 5 miscarriages before Sophia's birth, which deepened her bouts of depression. Her post-sitcom career saw fleeting successes but no lasting acclaim. A car accident in 2014 left her with chronic back pain, and she quietly entered rehab for painkiller dependency. Though still active in television, she lives reclusively in Los Angeles, rarely seen in public without security. At 55, she has a reported estate of $3 million, down from earlier heights, due to legal costs and a failed production company. The fiery energy that defined Carrie now masks a lifetime of emotional scars. Victor Williams, who played Deacon Palmer, was 28 when he debuted as Doug's grounded, wisecracking best friend and UPS co-worker. Deacon provided a sense of stability amid the chaos, but Victor's life was far less steady. Following the series, his acting roles dwindled, and he struggled to find leading work, often typecast or overlooked. He married Broadway dancer Tamika Johnson in 2004, and they had 2 sons, Caleb and Jaden, but the union ended in 2015 after years of infidelity rumors and financial hardship. Williams battled alcoholism quietly for nearly a decade, eventually entering treatment in 2018 after an incident where he was arrested for public intoxication. His relationship with his sons is distant, especially after he missed Caleb's graduation due to a court-mandated rehab stint. Though he continues to take minor roles in stage plays and indie films, he now lives alone in a modest Bronx apartment. Now 55, Williams suffers from early-onset arthritis and rarely makes public appearances. His net worth has reportedly dropped to around $600,000, a sobering fall from the sitcom's heyday. He once described fame as a spotlight that fades faster than the pain it leaves behind. Gary Valentine, who portrayed Danny Heffernan, Doug's bumbling but lovable cousin, was 37 in 1998, bringing warmth and clueless charm to his every scene. Known for his goofy antics and relentless optimism on screen, Valentine's real life was often anything but lighthearted. His attempts at a solo comedy career after the show floundered, with most of his projects cancelled or critically panned. He married former model Erica Thomas in 2000, and they adopted 2 children, Marcus and Lily, but Erica filed for divorce in 2010 citing emotional neglect and compulsive gambling. That addiction nearly bankrupted him twice. Valentine also developed severe anxiety and was briefly institutionalized in 2014 following a breakdown. He attempted a comeback in the late 2010s but faced backlash after several controversial stand-up routines. Valentine currently resides in a Las Vegas condo, where he lives off royalties and infrequent comedy gigs. At 64, he's largely estranged from his children and maintains a quiet, isolated lifestyle. Once known for laughter, he now lives with regret, nursing old wounds and lost opportunities. His estate is estimated at just under $750,000, barely a shadow of what it once could have been. Larry Romano, who played the smooth-talking firefighter Richie Iannucci, was 35 when he took on the role of Doug's charming high school buddy known for his wild escapades and romantic conquests. Though he left the show early, his character remained memorable. Romano's real life was riddled with chaos and artistic frustration. He struggled to transition into film, repeatedly falling into legal disputes with agents and producers over unpaid deals. He married costume designer Elise Marquette in 2001, but their volatile relationship, marked by multiple separations, ended in 2009 after a domestic dispute that made tabloid headlines. They had no children. Romano later fathered a son, Luca, in 2013 with a younger woman, but the relationship dissolved amid a bitter custody battle. Suffering from bipolar disorder, Romano disappeared from the public eye for years, living in upstate New York and occasionally working as a music teacher. He faced homelessness briefly in 2017 before a former co-star helped him find housing. Now 62, Romano lives quietly with Luca part-time and is writing a memoir about his descent from sitcom fame. His estate is valued at approximately $200,000. He calls his time on The King of Queens the last time I felt visible. Sam McMurray, who portrayed the sardonic supervisor O'Boyle in The King of Queens, was 46 when he stepped into the role of Doug's surly yet oddly endearing boss. His character was the kind of middle manager who wielded authority with dry disdain, but McMurray played him with a nuanced undercurrent of loneliness. Despite a long career in supporting roles, Sam's post-Queens trajectory never soared. He drifted from bit parts to voiceovers, always on the fringe of major success. Married to costume designer Dana Lee since 1983, the relationship became strained as Sam's drinking worsened in the mid-2000s, and they divorced quietly in 2011. They had 2 children, Miles and Sophie, though contact with them diminished after the divorce. McMurray battled depression, financial troubles, and a gambling habit that led to bankruptcy in 2016. He now lives alone in a modest Glendale apartment, subsisting on residuals and the occasional guest spot. At 73, he rarely attends industry events, having become something of a recluse. Friends say he spends most days watching old baseball games and rereading scripts from his youth. His current estate is estimated at $350,000, a far cry from his peak in the early 2000s. Kevin James, who played the affable, pizza-loving delivery driver Doug Heffernan, was 33 when he landed the lead role in The King of Queens, and his blend of slapstick and sensitivity won over audiences. Despite that stardom, his later career was riddled with box office flops and critically panned sitcoms. After the short-lived success of Kevin Can Wait, he struggled to recapture his former glory. James married actress Stefania de la Cruz in 2004, and they had 4 children, Sienna, Shay, Cannon, and Sistine. But their marriage grew strained after the cancellation of his shows and his long absences touring. Rumors of infidelity and emotional distance plagued their union until an unofficial separation in 2021. Kevin now resides in a gated Florida community, largely retired from Hollywood and focused on managing his investments. Though isolated and estranged from his older children, he maintains a relationship with his youngest daughter. At 60, James has withdrawn from the spotlight, rarely seen in public. His estate is estimated at $25 million, much of it tied up in real estate and a failing podcast network he tried to launch in 2023. Jerry Stiller, who brought manic brilliance to Arthur Spooner, Carrie's erratic and stubborn father, was 71 when he began his unforgettable run on The King of Queens. A veteran of stage and screen, Stiller injected the show with unpredictability and a uniquely chaotic charm. But behind the scenes, Jerry struggled deeply after the death of his wife, Amira, in 2015. The couple had been inseparable for over 60 years, and her passing left him emotionally shattered. His relationship with his son, actor Ben Stiller, was complex, marked by pride but also rivalry and long silences. Jerry suffered from bouts of memory loss and depression in his later years and eventually withdrew from acting entirely. Despite outward appearances, friends say he often cried alone in his Manhattan apartment, where he lived with a caregiver. Stiller passed away from natural causes on May 11, 2020, at the age of 92. His estate was valued at approximately $8 million, with the bulk of it left to Ben and his grandchildren. His funeral was private, honoring his wish for no fuss, just laughs. Patton Oswalt, who portrayed Spence Alkin, the neurotic, nerdy friend with a perpetual sense of doom, was 29 when he joined the cast. Oswalt's dry wit and awkward energy made Spence a fan favorite, yet Patton's own life was deeply marked by tragedy. In 2016, his wife, true crime author Michelle McNamara, died suddenly in her sleep, sending Patton into a spiral of grief, insomnia, and guilt. Though he eventually remarried actress Meredith Salinger in 2017, close friends say he never fully recovered from Michelle's loss. His relationship with his daughter, Alice, remains strong, though he battles guilt over the impact of his grief on her childhood. While he continued working in comedy and voice acting, the joy he once showed seemed forced in later years. He often channeled his pain into his stand-up, veering into darker territory. Now 56, Patton still performs but spends much of his time alone, wrestling with anxiety and regret. Despite the pain, he is financially secure, with an estate estimated at $12 million, largely from royalties, books, and animation work. Nicole Sullivan, who portrayed Holly Shumpert, was 28 when she took on the role of the bubbly, eccentric dog walker whose well-meaning antics often lightened the Heffernans' household tension. Her comedic timing and lovable energy made her a fan favorite. But behind the laughter, Sullivan's real life unfolded with heartbreaking challenges. After the show, her acting career floundered, bit roles, cancelled pilots, and a failed voiceover project left her disillusioned. She married comedy writer Peter Adams in 2005, but the union proved rocky. They divorced in 2014 after years of therapy, citing irreconcilable schedules and emotional distance. They had 2 sons, Max and Leo, who now live with their father. Sullivan struggled with depression and anxiety, especially during her custody battle. Financial troubles followed her dwindling career. She sold her home in 2017 and now rents a modest condo in Burbank. Estranged from her family, Sullivan leads a reclusive life, teaching improv part-time. Now 52, she's rarely seen in public and has no major projects. Her estimated estate is around $400,000, a steep fall from her sitcom days. Friends say she still clings to old scripts, whispering lines from her glory days. Merrin Dungey, who played Kelly Palmer, the grounded yet fiery wife of Deacon, was 29 when she brought strength and compassion to the character in 1999. Her performance stood out as a rare portrait of a realistic, assertive partner in a sea of sitcom cliches. Post-show, Dungey's career took a hit when several drama pilots she led were shelved. She married director Scott Laney in 2006, but his infidelity and addiction struggles corroded their marriage. They had 1 daughter, Maya, whom Merrin raised largely alone. After a bitter divorce in 2012, Dungey focused on raising Maya, sacrificing career opportunities. Her sister's death in 2015 from cancer devastated her emotionally, and she withdrew from Hollywood. Now 55, Dungey occasionally teaches acting workshops in Pasadena but remains largely out of the spotlight. Living in a quiet rental apartment, she maintains contact with only a few close friends. Her estate is currently estimated at $600,000. Despite her talent, Hollywood left her behind, and she admits to living with regret over missed chances and broken trust. Lou Ferrigno, who played a fictionalized version of himself on The King of Queens, was 49 when he stepped into the role of Doug's celebrity neighbor, a quirky, self-aware performance that poked fun at his bodybuilder fame. Though his cameo brought laughs, Ferrigno faced a darker reality off-screen. After the show, he returned to fitness and minor guest spots, but a failed gym franchise venture in 2009 cost him millions. He married Carla Green in 1980, and they had 3 children, Shauna, Lou Jr., and Brent, but his obsessive discipline and public persona often clashed with family life. Brent accused him in a 2016 interview of being emotionally distant and manipulative, sparking a painful public rift. Ferrigno also battled hearing issues and chronic back pain from his bodybuilding days. Now 73, he still trains but has slowed down significantly. He lives alone in a gated California home, estranged from 2 of his children. Once worth millions, his estate is now estimated at $1.2 million. Behind the smile, the gentle giant wrestles with loneliness and the ghost of a louder, more triumphant past. Jenny O'Hara, who portrayed Janet Heffernan, Doug's sardonic and sharp-tongued mother, was 59 when she added biting humor and maternal exasperation to the show. Her dry delivery and tough love approach made her scenes unforgettable. But while Janet's persona seemed no-nonsense, O'Hara's real life has been far more fragile. She married theater director Martin Gill in the early 70s, and they had twin daughters, Ellie and Jane, but tragedy struck when Jane died in a car accident at 17. The marriage barely survived the grief. Though she acted sporadically after The King of Queens, O'Hara's heart was never in it again. She retired quietly after a stroke in 2016 impaired her speech. Living in assisted care in Santa Monica, she rarely receives visitors. Ellie, her only surviving child, lives overseas and visits rarely. O'Hara, now 85, spends her days watching old episodes of her work, clinging to the fragments of her past life. Her estate is estimated at $350,000, and she once admitted in an interview that her biggest fear was being forgotten before I'm gone. Dakin Matthews, who portrayed Father McAndrew, brought gentle wisdom and commanding authority to the priestly role when he joined The King of Queens at age 58. A respected stage actor with Shakespearean roots, Matthews lent gravitas to every scene he touched. But his off-screen life was marred by quiet sorrow. Married to fellow actor Elise Baldwin for over 30 years, their relationship frayed under the weight of multiple miscarriages and long separations due to touring schedules. They had one daughter, Miriam, who tragically died from a fentanyl overdose at 23. The loss devastated Matthews, who withdrew from theater and struggled with depression. Though he continued acting in bit roles, he never found the same acclaim again. Now 84, he lives alone in a modest Pasadena home, estranged from his remaining family and plagued by chronic arthritis and early dementia. Once surrounded by fellow artists and applause, his days are now quiet and repetitive. His estimated estate stands at $1.3 million, much of it from his stage years. Despite everything, he still occasionally recites monologues to himself, fragments of a life once filled with purpose. Alex Scooby, who played the anxious and overly formal Doug Pruzan, Carrie's neurotic boss, was only 26 when he joined The King of Queens. His awkward energy gave the character a cult following, but fame proved fleeting. After the show, Scooby struggled to find meaningful roles, often typecast as the twitchy guy. His attempt at stand-up comedy flopped, and a self-funded pilot never aired. Scooby married indie director Jenna Klein in 2007, and they had twins, Owen and Iris, but their marriage crumbled amid financial pressure and his growing alcoholism. After multiple DUIs and rehab stints, Klein won sole custody, and Scooby was reduced to supervised visits. He attempted a comeback in the 2010s with voice acting but failed to regain momentum. Now 53, he lives in a studio apartment in Van Nuys, surviving off royalties and sparse convention appearances. He battles depression and panic disorder, and recently disclosed he hasn't spoken to his children in years. His estimated estate is just under $400,000, with mounting medical debts casting a shadow over his later years. Victor Rader Wexler, remembered for his biting portrayal of Mr. Kaplan, Doug Heffernan's curmudgeonly and sardonic supervisor, was 52 in 1998, bringing comedic sharpness to every scene he graced. Off-screen, Wexler was known as a deeply private man, married to theater costumer Rachel Donner. Though they had 2 children, Jeremy and Lila, their marriage endured years of emotional distance, fueled by Wexler's long shoots and rumored infidelity. A severe stroke in 2009 left him partially paralyzed, ending his on-screen career and placing strain on already fragile family ties. Rachel filed for divorce in 2011, and the children reportedly ceased contact shortly thereafter. Isolated and resentful, Wexler became reclusive, refusing interviews and appearances. Now 79, he lives in assisted living outside Sacramento, rarely receiving visitors. His once celebrated baritone voice is reduced to a rasp, and he spends hours staring at muted TV reruns of shows he no longer remembers being part of. His estate is valued at around $900,000, largely preserved by careful management and the frugality that once made him difficult to work with. Who is your favorite character from The King of Queens? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.